Some gear is fun, some gear is hype, but this piece right here keeps me completely dialed with my everyday carry every single day. Welcome to Not Another EDC Podcast, where everyday carry meets everyday life. I'm Mikey, a husband, father, EDC content creator, and gear enthusiast. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of my few pieces of gear that hasn't rotated out of my setup, and that's my Tale of Knives left side MPU Shadow T-Tux Keypster. Now, the reason why it's a left side is because the Keypster is on this front area here, so that way when it's on my hip, it's easier to grab my keys versus it being on the back side if I was right-handed and it would be on the right side of my hip. They do make the regular MPU, which is obviously a right-handed version, but they have love for the lefties out there, and I really fell in love with the fact that they make that modification, and that's why I got my hands on one of these. So diving into why this organizer works for me. First off, I'm going to break this into two parts. It's my foundational gear, which is the multi-tool, the MPU section, and then it's going to be my rotational gear, where I have a pen slit and a section for a flashlight. Three things that I got to have on me all the time is something to slice with, something to write with, something to light with. Taking a look at this here, my foundational gear is going to be the Leatherman ARC. And the Leatherman ARC is a staple for my everyday carry. I carry this more than any other EDC tool in my collection. Oftentimes, I will rotate this with a Leatherman Wave Plus, but for the most part, the Leatherman ARC is what sits with me all the time. That's my foundational gear. My rotational gear is going to be the pen and the flashlight. The pen that I have here is also one of my favorites. It's one by Big Idea Design. This is the TI Arto, but oftentimes I'll switch that out. I'll switch it out with other pens that I have in my car, like this Tactile Turn Mini Bolt Action Pen in Zirconium, or maybe I have this pen right here, and this is a new one by Concept EDC, has the American flag on there, also a bolt action pen. And that's what rotates in that middle section. And for the flashlight, this is an unreleased flashlight. You guys are going to see it here first, unless there's already a video about this on YouTube. But this is the Olight Arc Pro Light. And what's cool about this is that it now has USB-C charging. So my once favorite flashlight of all time, which was dethroned by another flashlight that was USB-C charging, now becomes my favorite flashlight again. But anyways, that is what's cool about this. And then on the back side, you can opt in for a belt loop version or a clip version. I have the clip version because in the office, I like clipping it onto my belt. But at the same time, when I'm out and about running errands and I'm not in the office and I'm wearing basketball shorts or what have you, the clips also act as a good reinforcement because obviously with some shorts, I'm not going to be wearing a belt. But why does it matter to have an organizer versus just having the gear in my pockets? I talk about this in previous podcast episodes where pocket real estate is a must for me specifically. And it's evolved in a way where it's opened up that way because of kids and just things that I carry with me on a daily basis. Having something like this on my hip, which kind of houses all of my EDC gear, including my keys, totally forgot to talk about that. This organizer really keeps my essentials together and consistent instead of fumbling in my pockets or having too many things clipped in my pockets. And then when I sit down in the car or whatever it is, it gets uncomfortable because you're just poking yourself. I don't like that. You see, it's really easy to overthink your carry by switching knives every single day, swapping wallets, overloading your pockets. But when you lock in a base setup, and I consider this to be my base setup, you really save the mental energy and always know where your essentials are. I also rant about how I get in trouble by standing in front of my tool cabinet just trying to figure out what I'm going to use and everything like that. But if I have something already set and dialed, I don't have to do that. I already have it on my dresser or what have you, and I can just grab this, clip it onto myself, and then get on my way. And for me specifically, when it comes to preparedness, it isn't about carrying everything. It's about carrying the right things consistently. Last episode, I talked about writing down the things that you typically carry on a 7-day week frame and dialing your setup to carry exactly that. That's exactly what I did with this. Thinking to myself, gosh, what if I can just have everything in one? Now, there are other pocket organizers out there, and I actually have a YouTube video where I go over this complete breakdown of carries that I've had and different organizers like such. And every single week, I would just grab one and go. And that's how I kept myself prepared. I've since strayed away from that because it was still something that I would have to keep in my pockets, and I wanted to open up that pocket real estate. So that's why I opted into something with the clips. Now, whether I'm at work or I'm trying to get my kids together or I'm heading into the weekend, this organizer really keeps me set. I rave about the Leatherman ARC, but it's probably the best multi-tool that has ever been created. I use it for so many things. For example, when I go to Target, I just happen to walk out with a toy every single time for my daughter. And those toys tend to have zip ties that are really hard to come off and really keep the toys intact. That Leatherman ARC comes in so handy when trying to get access to that toy that your kid is crying for because they want it so bad. So rather than waiting to go home, I could just cut it open right there, unscrew that backing, put a battery in it, and we're good to go. The pen I use 95% of the time at work. I talked about this where if I show up to work without a pen, I'm failing for the day. I'm not setting myself up for success. And the flashlight, gosh, I use that at least once a day. Trying to find something that I dropped in the car at night when I misplace my glasses. Usually I'm throwing it under the bed so I don't step on it when I have to go up into the bathroom or whatever it is. I have this handy right next to me where I could just pull that flashlight out and look under my bed to see where I placed it, or maybe on the dresser, and that helps me out literally every single day. Now, the reason why for this episode I wanted to talk about why it was worth bringing up a organizer of some sort is because most people want the next knife, the next light. But this kind of gear is exactly what makes EDC work for you. Organizers don't get enough credit. They're what keeps the systems dialed. So rather than looking a little funny where you have a bunch of clips hanging out of your pockets, well, now you have something that can get you set up like this. Now, I do want to disclose, Tale of Knives is not paying me to make this video or talk about it on this podcast. It's truly a piece of gear that I just use every single day that I know makes an impact with how I carry my EDC gear. I am, however, an affiliate, and I will have my affiliate link in the description of this video, because if you decide to purchase something like this or anything on their site, you do help me and the channel out. Now for our weekly recurring segment of what is in the truck today. I'm going to be talking about this. This is the Woobin H4. It's actually a headlamp. I think headlamps are quite handy for any vehicle. Sure, you can have flashlights like this, where you have a two-way clip and you can clip it onto the bill of a hat, but not everybody wears hats. So a headlamp like such, which is really cool, by the way, because this was given to me by Woobin, but this is one that can angle on your head. And if wear it like so, you can angle it on your head, and then there's a spotlight, there's a floodlight, and there's different modes. There's also a strobe and a 2-light option for turbo. Super bright. Sorry about that. I like how this can angle down without having me look down. And this is so handy when I'm working on the truck, if I'm in the engine bay, or I'm just working on something in general. I just used it the other day to install my fender flares on the truck, and I needed to get under the wheel well to really get the clips in to the right socket, and this was helping me get it right into there. So headlamps are a must. I have two. I have this Coast one here, and I have this one here. So this one I usually have in the middle console, and this Coast one I have in the glove compartment. But that's it for Not Another EDC Podcast. If you are struggling to keep your EDC gear consistent, maybe what you need is not another knife. Maybe what you need is an organizer. So that way you can keep yourself and your EDC gear in check. But as always, stay aware, stay prepared. Thank you guys for tuning in on these podcast episodes. Really enjoy talking with you all in this organic form. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Waka pat!